Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we are going to completely flip the script on something we literally all deal with every single day. We're exploring a really groundbreaking 2013 paper by researchers Crum, Peter Salovey, and Sean Acher, titled Rethinking Stress, the Role of Mindsets in Determining the Stress Response. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by the pressures of life or work, this explainer might just fundamentally change the way your brain and body process your very next challenge.
Here is the chronological journey we'll be taking today to shift how we look at the effects of stress. We'll cover 1. The stress paradox, 2. Defining stress mindsets, 3. Study 1. Measuring mindsets, 4. Study 2. Changing your mindset, 5. Study 3. Cortisol and feedback, and finally, 6. Rethinking our stress response.
Starting with Section 1, the stress paradox. Now, if you watch the news or read any health blogs, you know stress is constantly portrayed as a destructive epidemic. It's linked to the leading causes of death, depression, you name it. It's pervasive and it's debilitating. But there is a huge paradox here, because evolutionary science and psychology also show us that stress fuels physiological thriving. It initiates anabolic hormones that actually enhance immunity, it narrows our attention so we can process information faster, and it leads to stress-related growth, where people build mental toughness after a crisis.
Which leads to a really fascinating question. If stress can be both fundamentally enhancing and fundamentally debilitating, is it possible that our cultural focus on the destructiveness of stress, essentially our stress about stress, is actually the real problem here? Are we making it worse just by how we think about it?
Well, the researchers set out to investigate exactly that, and here is their core thesis straight from the paper. Improving one's response to stress may be a matter of shifting one's mindset. Notice they aren't saying we should just pretend stress doesn't exist. They're investigating whether changing the lens through which we view it can actually physically change our outcomes.
Moving to Section 2, Defining Stress Mindsets. First off, what exactly is a mindset? Simply put, the authors define it as a mental frame or lens that selectively organizes information and guides our actions. We can't possibly pay attention to every single detail around us, so our mindset acts as a filter.
In this paper, they contrast two specific lenses. You have the stress is enhancing mindset, which is the belief that experiencing stress actively fuels your performance, health, and learning. And then you have the stress is debilitating mindset, which is the belief that stress fundamentally harms your health and well-being. And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't about how much stress you have or how you cope with a specific deadline. It's about evaluating the nature of stress itself.
Section 3. Study 1. Measuring mindsets. To prove any of this, the researchers first had to measure it. So, they developed and validated an 8-item survey called the Stress Mindset Measure, or SMM. And they tested it on 388 employees at a financial institution that was undergoing massive corporate downsizing. Talk about a real-world pressure cooker, right?
Now, historically, psychology has looked at three main variables: the amount of stress you experience, your appraisal of how severe it is, and your coping mechanisms, like do you tackle the problem head-on or avoid it. The study needed to prove that mindset wasn't just a byproduct of these traditional variables. It had to be completely distinct.
And this brilliantly illustrates how they proved it. Using structural equation modeling, the statistical analysis confirmed that mindset acts as a completely separate factor from amount, appraisal, and coping. It is its own distinct, measurable variable.
So, does this mindset actually matter for our daily lives? Absolutely. The SMM successfully predicted a unique 2% to 3% of the variance in self-reported health and life satisfaction. And while that might sound small, remember, this is incremental variance above and beyond the massive amounts of stress these employees were already facing. Just changing your view of stress gives you a measurable boost.
Section 4. Study 2. Changing your mindset. This brings us to a really critical question. If an enhancing mindset is so beneficial, can we actively alter someone's stress mindset with an intervention? Are we stuck with the one we have, or can we change it?
They set up a 1-week experiment using those same highly stressed financial employees, randomly assigning them to 3 conditions. One group watched short videos biased toward information showing stress fuels growth. Another group watched videos showing stress causes harm. A third control group watched nothing. We're talking about 3 3-minute videos over a whole week. Could that actually do anything?
To find out, they took self-reported measurements before and after. They tracked stress mindset using the SMM, psychological health symptoms like depression and anxiety using the MASQ, and workplace performance using the WPS.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast. The enhancing group, that dark gray line, saw their stress mindset scores shoot up. Their health symptoms dropped significantly, and their work performance actually rose. Meanwhile, the debilitating and control groups showed basically no improvement at all.
The magnitude of success from this super brief intervention is incredible. To put it in perspective, an effect size of 0.01 is considered small. But here, the mindset shift had a massive effect size of 0.17, and that directly translated into a 0.02 drop in health symptoms and a 0.04 boost in work performance. A few short videos literally changed their reality.
Section 5, Study 3, Cortisol and Feedback. Now, surveys are great, but the researchers wanted to test the actual biological and behavioral mechanisms. So they brought in college students to face a real-world acute stressor.
They used the highly stressful Trier Social Stress Test. Imagine this. You have to rate your own charisma, you get just 10 minutes to prepare a speech, and then you're told you might be randomly selected to present it to experts while being videotaped for your peers to judge. Just hearing that makes me sweat. It's basically a nightmare scenario designed to induce acute stress.
During this test, they contrasted two key measurements. Behaviorally, they looked at the students' drive to seek out feedback on their speech, which is a great way to learn, but super intimidating. Physiologically, they measured cortisol reactivity through saliva, tracking the actual biological stress hormone.
And here's the first major finding. An enhancing mindset strongly predicted a higher desire to seek out feedback. If you think stress is debilitating, you just want to hide and survive. But if you have an enhancing mindset, you're significantly more motivated to endure the stress of feedback because you see it as a valuable learning opportunity.
So, the crucial point is how this mindset interacted with cortisol. It didn't just universally lower it. For people whose cortisol spiked massively, the enhancing mindset buffered and lowered it. But for people with a blunted, low cortisol response, which is actually bad for your immune system, the enhancing mindset boosted it. It pushed both physiological extremes right into that moderate, optimal sweet spot of arousal.
Finally, Section 6, Rethinking our stress response. Let's bring all these findings together. We've seen that your stress mindset is its own unique variable, that you can actively change it, and that doing so literally alters your biological hormones and your drive to grow under pressure.
Which leads perfectly to the final words from the paper, eliciting the enhancing aspects of stress may be, in part, a matter of changing one's mindset. We impartially report this profound takeaway. You don't necessarily have to reduce your stress to avoid its harm. You can change your lens.
By acknowledging that the stress response is designed to help us rise to the occasion, we can unlock better health and performance without changing our external circumstances at all. So, I'll leave you with this. How will you perceive your very next stressful encounter? Will it be a threat that drains you, or a challenge that prepares you to grow? The science suggests the choice is yours.